Hello and welcome to Danger Space Program. Today we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off, try to get some more science, see what we can do around Kerbin. We're going to start by seeing if there's any contracts we can take. Ferry VIPs looks like a reasonable choice. But to be honest, I'm not really sure what these suborbital flights are. This is another suborbital flight. This ferry tourists. I'm not sure if I'm liking those ferry contracts after all. Alright, let's see. What about... There's one. Orbit Kerbin. I think we can do that. Yeah, let's see what we got. Oh, speed record. Distance record, orbit Kerbin. Okay, we can do that. Let's see. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit before we launch off, just so you don't have to sit here and watch me build. But we're going to use parachute. We're going to try a new part here. This is the small cargo bay. We're going to give that a shot. Let's put some science in there. And maybe a battery. What else we got? Yeah, let's go ahead and put in a battery. Why not? 2 for symmetry. Excellent. Nice little cargo. We'll pull out the mono just to be slightly more efficient. Heat shield just to protect us if we need it. Decoupler, because that's our actual payload. Yeah, put some fuel on there. Oh. All these engines are too big. Okay, so we're not going to do an upper stage. We're just going to go ahead and build it on out. More fuel, more fuel. Now, incidentally, I'm using Alt to copy parts. As you see, I'm picking the second tank up, so I'm grabbing 2. Now, always grab the engine with the thrust vectoring. Trust me, it always pays off. Some fins to keep it nice and stable. I like pointing in the right direction. And just to get us some altitude, we're going to go ahead and slap these solids on. They're worth their weight in gold. And I think that'll about do it. Just checking everything out. Making sure there's nothing I'm forgetting. Oh, there is. We'll put some thermometers on there. And we are good to go. Oh, no we're not. We have to upgrade a couple of things before we can go. Name it orbiter. Alright, let's see. Upgrade the launch pad so it can actually fit our orbiter. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and upgrade the VAB as well. Nice. Beautiful setup we got there now. Let's go ahead and select the orbiter. And we'll take Jeb along for the ride. Perfect. And... oh, we got to adjust the staging. That's not right. Let's go ahead and pull this down there. Detach them. Ditch that. We're going to pull the engine onto stage 3. Just so we ditch and light the engine at the same time. And there we go. Now it starts to be a little uncontrollable. That's because solids are inherently uncontrollable without the space tape. I'm not really sure why, but they're cheap and nasty is what they are. They're great for getting you up though, and they're not exactly the sort of engine you're going to worry about recovering in real life or in Kerbal Space Program. Nice shock heating there. Okay, we're getting somewhere now, getting some nice speed going. Those solids are about to burn out any second now. Going almost 500 meters a second when they burnt out. And now we're just on this engine. We're losing a lot of speed, but that's okay because we don't need to go that fast anyway. And we're still a bit uncontrollable. If you look down the bottom left, we are trying to steer as hard as we can over to the east. Oh, that's the west, isn't it? But we're just not able. Now, if I had some air fins on that had some control to it, that'd be a different story, but that's not the situation we find ourselves in. Take a look at the map here. And just go ahead and keep pushing it on over to the east. No, not gonna happen. Now, earlier I said always pick the thrust vectoring engines. This is why. Yeah, see, they only get 200 thrust as opposed to the 215, but they're absolutely worth it. Mandatory, I'd say. Okay, let's try this again. Adjust the staging again because I didn't take care of that while I was in the VAB. That's okay, no problem. Not like that's ever been a problem in the past, right? Now the Kerbals back at home are eager to get their hands on some fresh science from orbit. Yes, they've had science from the vacuum of space before, but this is different. This is at high velocities relative to the surface. This science could be the key that unlocks it all. Or not. So, as you see this time, much more controllable, even when we have the solids burning. You'll notice I go under a quarter thrust there. That's all that we need really to keep us in line. We are getting a bit spinny, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Slow down a little bit before we detach them just for safety. And now we're just on this, and we are nothing but controllable here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not the best orbit I've ever done. But it should get the job done. So we're just gonna make sure we get all that vertical velocity we need. I really should be cutting over to get a more efficient orbit here as far as fuel to get there. But it's just, we're gonna start pitching over now. It's even a late pitch over for the last version standards. But we're gonna make do with what we got. It's not a problem. It's not that big of a loss. And just keep on going there. Now, I do plan in the future to add some mods to this, at least some of the basic ones like Kerbal Engineer. Not until the next episode, maybe 2. See, I record these episodes a couple in advance, and then I do the voiceover, and then I go ahead and publish them. At least that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do with it. We'll see how it goes. As for right now, I'm really just worried about cutting over. And we are getting there. We're already up 27 kilometers with a 34 kilometer apoapse. It's developing nicely. 520 kilometers a second. There we go. Now, this launch again, it's not the most efficient. As you see, we're about 3/4 of the way through our fuel now, but our apoapsis is up to 52 kilometers. 60, getting close. We might be able to do this orbit in the fuel we got here. Ooh, new speed record, always a plus. 70 kilometers, there we go. We'll let it burn out a little bit more just so we don't fall back. Oh, well, there goes using that stage. And we'll just go ahead and warp through to the apoapse. And we should light those engines up just a second. Now we've officially broke out of the atmosphere. There we go, we're going to burn just slightly upwards so we don't start falling back down. Get as much bang for the buck as we can to make up for the losses on the way up. There we go, we're about halfway there and circularizing our orbit. And there we go. That's a circular orbit around Kerbin. Roughly. Alright. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And let's go ahead and open up our bay. And we'll get as much science as we can while we're up here. Again, the crew report's not going to get us anything. We already did that. And the U's not going to give us a whole lot either. I guess I didn't need to bring any science after all. I'll just close that up. Now the thermometer, that's something we could use. Glad we brought that one experiment. There we go, we'll get some money. Money. Money, money. Yeah. And we'll time warp around. Now, what I'm about to show you here is exactly how not to make sure you land at the Space Center. This is how you land anywhere but the Space Center. Anything but what I do here would be better, I think. Just random guessing is better than what I'm doing here. So let's see. Just over the ocean there, about 13 kilometers. You see me turning around to fix it, because I know even there, I know that's not right. Give it a little bit more. But in the end, I say screw it. Doesn't matter. We'll land where we land. It'll be good enough. And pretty much the whole landing through the atmosphere we'll do through 4 times time warp. And we actually got quite a bit of fuel left in the tank here, so we can slow our descent down with that as needed. Yeah, I typically like a more direct descent. In this case, though, I was just going with whatever I could get. I'm just happy with being back on the ground. Well,
getting back on the ground. Still need to upgrade that astronaut complex. Too late to do that now, though. Just continue down. We are above the desert here now, though. Oh, and our orbit has officially degraded to hyperbolic. Look at that view of Kerbin. Now, as beautiful of a game as this is, it really doesn't compare to reality. I'm sure anybody watching this would have seen pictures of the ISS traveling. There's no comparison. And we're just going to adjust the staging here so we can get rid of that fuel tank after we deploy our parachute. And we're really going to hope the engine doesn't explode here. We'll see how that goes. As of right now, it's holding out. But we're going to light it up just to hasten our descent speed a bit. There we go. And we got about a quarter of our tank left here. Might as well use it all now. We fully intend on ditching it before we land. Or water. Splash down, whatever you want to call it. And I like how the exhaust fumes there stay with me. Yeah, a lot of people were really hoping they added atmospheric effects as far as storms and clouds and that sort of thing before the 1.0 release. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But that's okay. They don't really need it. There are mods for that. I don't particularly like installing a whole lot of mods, but I'll be honest, this is one of the easier games to install mods on I've seen, so it's not that bad of an issue. And there we go. Anytime now we could really deploy that chute, but we're just gonna... What is that? No, that's definitely on my craft. It's definitely... It's the thermometer. There's no way of seeing any damage, but it looks like we very nearly had our first casualty in the 1.0 version of Kerbal Space Program due to atmospheric heating. Very nearly. We're gonna have to take that in mind next craft we build. Maybe we could protect against it a little bit better. Maybe I could have dropped it into the cargo bay pod thing that I have there. I don't know. We'll have to see what we can do. There we go. That splashed down nicely. 1,000 meters left. And the chute should deploy any moment now. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now we're at a sedate 6 kilometers, or 6 meters a second. 6 kilometers is not sedate by any means, except for maybe interstellar travel. And there we have it. Safe splashdown. Jedediah is quite relieved, I'm sure. Grab a crew report, grab all the science we can while we're here. Same routine. That's the one there. Managed to get it without even being able to see. There we go, we'll keep that. Perfect. Alright everybody, that'll do it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.